lucky to still see.
I just felt something like metal hit my face really hard.
A stray BB nearly hits a Colorado woman in the eye.
I wanted it to just be a freak accident, like just a rock, you know, something innocent.
Tonight, she's getting her story out in hopes of finding the person who almost took her sight.
It's a growing issue across Colorado, and local leaders are searching for answers.
Let's look to see, do we need a shelter? Where are we going to put it? How are we going to get water and sewer there?
The proposal Douglas County leaders are considering to help people experiencing homelessness.
Plus, all hail Kale. The Avs star is named the best defenseman in all of hockey.
Tonight, a Fort Collins woman says she's lucky she can still see after a stray BB came close to striking her eye. And tonight, Loveland police confirm they've opened up a case, but that's all they can tell us.
And now this woman is speaking to Denver 7's Rob Harris, hoping to find the person responsible.
It's surprisingly heavy.
It might seem weird to keep as a souvenir, but Greta Cooper-Coe says she's going to hold on to this small BB.
Remind me that I'm tough and that I'm not blind in this eye. So.
Her other permanent reminder, a scar.
The whole ER was in my room talking to me, saying, "Oh my God."
It was last weekend that Cooper-Coe and her boyfriend were driving to a concert in the Denver area. They just passed the intersection of Taft and 57th in Loveland, enjoying the nice weather with the windows down. And then
I just felt something like metal hit my face really hard. I knew it was metal because I heard it. It made this noise when it hit my bone. I had no idea what it was. We pulled over. Blood is just coming out of my face. Luckily, I had a bunch of napkins, so I'm like, what happened? So I'm like crying because it hurts, and just searching the car for anything, like a rock or anything.
Cooper-Coe and her boyfriend cleaned and bandaged the wound, or so they thought. After a few days, the wound and her black eye were getting worse, not better.
They did an ultrasound and they saw that something was in there, and then they had to cut it open a little bit more to retrieve it, and then they pulled it out, and that's when I saw it. I did not want it to be that, you know. I wanted it to just be a freak accident, like just a rock, you know, something innocent, you know, nobody would do that. And then I realized people do those things, and yeah, it sucks.
She's filed a report with Loveland Police, and she's also shared her story on Reddit. Some in the comments point to headlines elsewhere, reporting on a trend on TikTok where users shoot airsoft guns at other people on video, though so far there's no evidence that's the case here.
I think there's all kinds of messed up stuff on the internet in general. I don't know, really.
Cooper-Coe says in the warm Colorado summer nights ahead, she's still going to drive with the windows down.
Yeah, don't be afraid, people.
In Loveland, Rob Harris, Denver 7.
1 year ago today, Arvada was rocked by gun violence, and today loved ones held a moment of silence in memory of Johnny Hurley. On this day last year, Hurley and Officer Gordon Beasley both lost their lives in Old Town. Beasley died after being ambushed by a gunman. Hurley, a good Samaritan, shot the suspect, only to be shot and killed by an officer who mistook him for the shooter. Today, Arvada police honored both men, sharing their pictures with the caption, "Never Forgotten."
The recent mass shootings in Texas and New York have sparked new life into the gun control debate. Tonight, Senate negotiators say they have an agreement on a bipartisan bill, opening the door for a vote before the end of the week. Under a framework released today, the bill would include expanded background checks for people age 18 to 21, funding for school safety and mental health programs, and funds to incentivize violence prevention. With 10 Republicans involved in the negotiations, the bill is expected to reach the 60 vote threshold to pass the Senate.
Meanwhile, cities here in Colorado are putting gun control into their own hands. In Lafayette tonight, city council members approved second readings for multiple new ordinances. Those include banning open carry in public places and on city property, and requiring gun dealers to post signs where gun sales take place. Several other Colorado cities have also enacted new gun laws in recent weeks, but those could be short-lived. And here's why. A Supreme Court ruling expected this month could overturn a New York law. That law requires someone to justify their need for self-defense to get a concealed carry permit. DU law professor Ian Farrell says most legal scholars believe that law will be struck down, but it's a matter of how broad the opinion will be.
If the opinion is handed down in such a way that calls into question some of the laws and ordinances here in Colorado, then that would allow for a challenge to be made against those laws here in Colorado.
Farrell says laws that restrict guns in places like parks could also be in question based on oral arguments in the case.
Earlier this year, the Denver City Council also voted to ban concealed carry in city buildings and parks. That action has caught the attention of Douglas County commissioners, who are now proposing the county take over Daniels Park. That park is fully located in Dougco, but is owned by Denver. Commissioner Abe Layden believes this could benefit both communities.
I think it makes sense to begin a conversation with our elected colleagues in the city and county of Denver around what it might look like for Douglas County to have a more significant ownership and maintenance role, which potentially could be a win-win for both Denver and Douglas County.
We reached out to the Denver Parks Director, Scott Gilmore, for comment, but have not heard back. However, he told the Douglas County News Press that the city would not move forward with giving away the park.
Also in Douglas County tonight, leaders are looking for solutions to address the growing problem and the growing number of people experiencing homelessness.
Tomorrow, the community will get to weigh in on a new proposal for temporary housing. Denver 7 CB Cotton explains.
Only 64 square feet in size. This is a woman's home. And while she doesn't want you to know who she is, she does want you to know that she's found safety here.
They're wonderful.
This is a temporary housing community in Aurora, made using pallet shelters. And something like this could soon come to Douglas County. Some love the idea, others don't, and some just want to discuss.
I think everybody needs to talk about it because it's in our community. It's not like it's going away.
These are safe, clean, aesthetic, case managed, camouflaged. And by the way, it supports and undergirds our code enforcement.
Commissioner Abe Layden leads the county's homeless initiative. He says the county has been working to find solutions for the unhoused community. He believes these shelters are the next step.
But our model is more of a housing plus, meaning that yes, to a place for people to spend the night, but also wraparound services, substance abuse counseling, mental health counseling, job counseling.
Layden says this 2021 ruling from a Larimer County District Judge also requires the county to act.
You cannot have code enforcement or cleanups unless there is a place for people to go. And that's the critical message.
The county has weighed the idea of placing the shelters near the Justice Center here in Castle Rock, but no location has been decided. In fact, the idea hasn't even been given the final seal of approval. But Layden is united with Commissioner George Teal and moving the idea forward. The county's third and final commissioner, Laura Thomas, sees it differently.
Let's see what we've already put in place and how that works. I haven't had any citizen or any law enforcement officer come to me and say, I have a tent city here that I need to take care of, and I can't do it without a shelter. So I don't know that we have the problem here that Aurora has and Denver has in Colorado Springs.
However you view the proposal, 64 square feet could soon become someone's home in Douglas County.
It's just in our community, and we all have to address it one way or another.
CB Cotton, Denver 7.
Thank you, CB. Now, a town hall will be held tomorrow night in Castle Rock to address the issue. It'll be from 5 to 6:30 at the Philip Miller Building.
We are now just 1 week away from primary night in Colorado. With time winding down, election officials in Denver are asking voters not to wait until the last minute to return that mail-in ballot. They say too many last-minute ballots could mean a multi-day count like what happened in 2020. The deadline to mail back your ballot passed last night, so that means voters will need to drop off ballots or vote in person.
Governor Polis does not have a primary challenger, but there are 2 Republicans vying to face him on the November ballot. Denver 7 political reporter Megan Lopez sat down with both Heidi Ganal and Greg Lopez. A big issue heading into November will be election security and confidence. It's a topic Megan asked both candidates to weigh in on.
Do you believe in mail-in voting?
Yes, I think for the single mom who can't, take a day off to go vote, or the busy teacher or farmer or rancher who can't, figure out how to leave their crops for a day to go do that, it's very important to have that available.
We're not the gold standard by any stretch of the imagination.
And so if that's the case, how can you trust this system to elect you to the governor's mansion if you have doubts about the very system that's needed to get you there?
Because I'm going to trust the people. I'm going to trust the people. I'm going to trust the poll watchers. I'm going to trust the election judges.
And you can watch more of Megan's interviews with Ganal and Lopez at thedenverchannel.com.
Another highlight to what's been a season full of them for Cale Makar. Tonight, the Avs star took home the Norris Trophy, awarded to the best defenseman in the NHL. Lionel will have much more from Makar coming up in sports.
And as you all know, the Avs are in Tampa for the Stanley Cup Finals. They're looking to bounce back tomorrow night after Monday's tough loss in Game 3.
Our Ann Trujillo is also in Tampa covering the Avalanche, and she found out what may be the weirdest sports superstition. Meet Bathroom Becky.
On Mother's Day, I said I was going to stand in the bathroom 3 hours before, and they scored 5 goals in the first period, 5-0. So everybody laughed. They couldn't believe I said I was going to do it before. And I'm 7-0 at home right now, so.
Do you ever sit down at this game?
I do not. I was a coach for 30 years for basketball, varsity, and high school sports, and I never sat down in 30 years, so.
Wait, so you don't have a seat?
I don't have a seat, and I refuse to seat. Stop. I'm beating fans I don't even know.
So, but everybody knows you as Bathroom Becky.
They do. I was in the Tampa Times. I had an awesome reporter, and my Lightning Strikes peeps, they're amazing. They kind of just, they've made this fun. If it puts a smile on people's face, then that's what really matters, especially after the last crazy 2 years, so.
Okay, so your prediction then?
Oh, I predicted the Bolts are going to win it in Game 6. That's right. I'm sorry, Avalanche people. Your state is beautiful. Your state is beautiful, so, but for sure.
Okay, so you heard Becky's prediction, and now here's mine. Avalanche, #1, Bolts, #2. Mark my words, in Tampa, and Trujillo, Denver 7.
Wow.
Nice one, Ann.
Don't want to mess with Bathroom Becky either. But,
Well, Denver 7 is your home for the Stanley Cup Final. Our team coverage begins tomorrow morning at 4:30. That's in the morning with anchor Brian Sanders live in Tampa. And then in the evening, it'll be Ann Trujillo and our army of reporters that'll get you ready for Game 4 with our special pregame show at 5:30. We'll also have postgame coverage immediately after the game, followed by Denver 7 News at 10.
thousands are expected to descend on northwest Colorado. Tonight, the Forest Service is addressing concerns ahead of the Rainbow Family Gathering.
Support for Ukraine, a Colorado student doing her part to help those fighting on the front lines.
It was a cool, comfy first day of summer, but hot weather returns starting tomorrow.